Welcome to a new episode of the Low Code Approach. I'm Sean Fiene, a senior product marketing manager on the Power Platform and Copilot Studio team, and I'm joined by.
I'm Wendy Haddad. I am a senior customer experience program manager on the Planner team, and I am joined by.
Hey, I'm Ken Auguillard, and let me tell you a story. It's 2 a.m. in the morning, and two of my now guests are smiling at me here on the screen. One of them named Derah, one of them named Heather. What do they do? Who are they? We will find out very, very soon. Let's start with Heather. Who are you? What do you do? Followed by Derah. Heather.
Ken, my name is Heather. I am a principal product manager on the intelligent automations team. I look after our agent flows inside of Microsoft Copilot Studio.
And hello, everyone. My name is Derah. I am a product manager on the intelligent automations team, and I focus on building human-in-the-loop capabilities for agents and agent flows. That's my regular day job. On the side as well, to deliver impact for the company, I also spend a lot of time at conferences, summer engagements to amplify all the work that our teams are doing. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Thank you both for joining us. So you dropped two words that kind of give us the segue into what's our topic today, and that's going to be agent flows. And so to kind of set the baseline on this and educate all of us, Heather, what are agent flows?
Yeah. So agent flows is our new workflow automation offering inside of Copilot Studio. So for those who are looking to automate repetitive tasks in a deterministic way, agent flows is your go-to tool that you can find inside of Microsoft Copilot Studio today. And in addition to deterministic tasks, you're able to add intelligent actions such as AI prompts, intelligent approvals, and a bunch of new stuff coming your way pretty soon.
You used the word deterministic, and I don't know that everyone on our podcast would know necessarily what that means. So just every day, just explaining to anyone, our users, we've got end users as well as business decision makers who listen to the podcast. What does that actually mean?
Yes. So agent flows are deterministic in the way that you design them. So when you design an agent flow, you select the trigger. So maybe you select that the agent flow is going to get triggered when you receive a new email or when a new record gets added to a system of record like Dynamics. And then you decide what are the actions that happen right after the trigger and in what sequence those actions need to take place. So first you want action A, then action B, then action C. And when that flow runs, it's going to follow the sequence of those actions that you've designed in the same pattern that you've designed them. So there's nothing that's being generated or decided at the runtime. It's all happening deterministically. Which is a little bit different than how our agents work today inside of MC. An agent, you give a set of tools, a set of knowledge, a set of instructions, a lot of grounding for it to decide what actions and in what sequence those actions need to take place in order to address the goal or the problem that it is facing. While agents are non-deterministic, they apply generative decisioning at runtime. Agent flows are deterministic in that they will follow the set sequence and instructions at runtime.
Thanks, Heather. So, Derah, that reminds me of your demos that I've seen you do at like Power Platform Community Conference and a few other places. And I know I'm always, Derah and I are friends, and I'm teasing him about it's 2 a.m. in the morning because he has a great story that he's telling. But the way that Heather just described this, it kind of reminds me of one of the demos that you showed where agents are using other agents and there's a lot of autonomy, if you will, in terms of how agents can now be these digital workers. Can you talk to us about that and what exactly is, I think you said man in the middle or something like that?
Yeah. So agents, like in the demo I showed, agents can now work together, especially in the Power Platform, using what we call agent to agent protocol, A to A. And you can think of this as like having specialized agents that perform certain parts of the entire business process. So in the demo I showed at EPPC, if I remember, it was a supplier discovery agent. That parent agent then called upon other agents to perform in-depth analysis of risk of different vendors or different suppliers. So just like we work as teammates, now digital labor can work as teammates. Every single agent has its own knowledge, its own tools, its own specialties to focus on a particular task, and they can loop in other agents for other tasks. Now, what I said was human in the loop. So this is an area that I'm working on, very interested in, kind of close to man in the middle, as you said, Ken. But I think the term the industry uses is human in the loop. But it's essentially, as the name implies, involving humans in AI and agentic automation workflows. So some of the things that we're working on now is allowing a human to be brought in to provide additional information to an agent. So if an agent is running, maybe it's missing some kind of information, you can bring in a human to provide that information so the agent doesn't fall out or the agent doesn't fail in its execution. So it's any way we can bring a human in to give approvals, to give information, to give guidance, to give training so that an agent performs.
And I know that we used a couple acronyms. So MCS is Microsoft Copilot Studio, everyone, and EPPC, European Power Platform Conference. There we go. I hit my buzzer of being the acronym police there. But I want us to take a step back. So we're using the words agents, we're using the word flows. And I think that oftentimes we've got another Power Platform tool that uses the word flows, that Power Automate, that might be a little bit confusing there. So is this Power Automate? Is it replacing Power Automate? Is, kind of a which tool one? Help me understand why I would use agent flows versus Power Automate. Yes, I will direct that to Heather.
Yeah, I'll take all of the hard questions. Yeah, so absolutely. There's already a workflow automation product that we know and love inside of Power Automate, which not only helps you automate tasks on the cloud, but also we have our RPA offering, which is part of Power Automate, robotic process automation, which helps you automate desktop flows. And Power Automate will continue to do just that, right? So Power Automate will continue to be our offering to help you automate these tasks at scale that you find repetitive. For agent flows, it's meant to be the flows that you use for intelligent automations. And it's meant to be the flow that you use to integrate inside of agents. So when you're trying to build a flow to be leveraged inside of an agent, you have this workflow automation tool directly inside of the Copilot Studio that you can go create. Do you want to leverage that as a tool? You have that designer directly inside of Copilot Studio. It's also going to be the place where you find the ability to add intelligent actions. So whether that's the intelligent approvals that Derah just mentioned, or wanting to add AI prompts, etc. Really, agent flows is going to be the place where you kind of add these intelligence into that deterministic workflow.
Awesome. Heather, so you mentioned deterministic workflow seems pretty linear in its process. Do we have capabilities such as state machines? So based on some outcome, some variable during the flow that's occurring, we can pivot the process itself. Maybe like what Derah was mentioning before, human in loop comes in, approves something, the status approval comes back approved, and now we can actually flip the process to a different state. Is that possible in agent flows now too? Or maybe we make a call out with a connector to an external system to grab some data, and based on that status, we can change the state of the agent flow. Is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely. So flows are deterministic, but they certainly are not always very linear. So we have a ton of tooling inside of the product through controls and switches and approvals, as you mentioned, that basically determine the path of that flow as well. So it will go and collect data, read data, and you can set up rules as part of that flow that says, if this is approved or not, if the data reads in a certain way or not, maybe if an invoice's status is approved or rejected, it goes through a different path in that flow. And you can set up these pretty intricate, they can get quite complicated flows based on these rules and conditionings, based on the data that it retrieves or the decision that's being made through an approval.
Nice. And so on top of that, like you said, there's many paths that a flow may go depending on the values and the results for switches. What do we provide in terms of auditing? So if I wanted to know what path did my flow actually take, how does either the maker of that flow or an admin review how that flow actually reached its destination?
Yeah, absolutely. So inside of Copilot Studio and Agent Flows, you can go into, once you select the flow, you can go into that flow's activity and actually see the run of every single flow. So by stepping into that flow's run, you can see the inputs and the outputs of every single action. So you see the data that's actually being moved from one action to the next and the outcome of that action or decision of a condition. So all of that is recorded inside of that flow's run history, which is all available through that activity tab inside of MCS.
Now, Derah, I'm a little curious. What type of extensibility do we have for the flow ecosystem? Do we call it the flow ecosystem? Or is it now the agentic flow ecosystem? Do we use our standard Power Platform connectors? Can I connect to APIs? I don't even know if I want to get into MCP servers and everything else, but Sean shaking his head, everyone. Derah, where do we start? Do we start with the current connectors? Do we start with custom? Help us out.
Yeah, I think it's my better suited to Heather, but I can take a stab at it. All the connectors that are available in Cloudflows today are also available inside of Agent Flows today. So customers can start from using the connectors that we have in Agent Flows. But of course, if they want to connect to other systems via connectors that we don't have, that's also supported in Agent Flows. They can build custom connectors. And even now in the Power Platform, you can build connectors for MCP servers as well. I think, Heather, keep me honest.
Heather, any more to add?
Yeah, so just like Derah mentioned, all of the connectors that we have inside of Power Automate are going to be surfaced and usable inside of Agent Flows. Any new custom connectors that you bring in to the Power Automate connector ecosystem can also be leveraged inside of Agent Flows. And as we begin to bring more of these MCP servers online, you'll also be able to get that goodness inside of Agent Flows. So we're not creating a whole new ecosystem. All of the connectors that we know and love that you use across Power Apps, Power Automate, MCS, Agent Flows will remain the same.
Curious, and I think this is open to both of you. What are some of the either success stories or the coolest use cases that you've seen for agent flows in Copilot Studio? Maybe Heather, you can start, and then Derah.
Yeah. So one of the coolest use cases that I have seen being used is Philips. So Philips is one of our customers, and they've been an early adopter of agent flows, and they've been using agent flows to actually manage their customer invoices. So once they give a customer some hardware or some services, they bill that customer, and they have a pretty lengthy process of how they get those bills paid. So sometimes those bills are overdue and they need to reach out to these customers and go and get that payment made. And they have a ton of people working on this, right? Identifying which ones are overdue, summarizing it, communicating with the customer. When the customer responds, being able to answer questions based on what the customer is asking or requests that the customer is making. And so what we have seen the Philips build, which I think is all of the new cool capabilities that are coming to the platform, is initially they've created a flow that looks at their tables instead of Dataverse to identify what are some of the invoices that are overdue. And before, you'd have to build these kind of really complicated filtering mechanisms to identify and match different tables, state what is overdue, what is soon to be due, does it have a credit memo, all of these requirements. And they were able to do a lot of this fuzzy matching of data and filtering of data just through natural language inside of an AI prompt inside of that flow. The speed of being able to create something that can go and identify which of these invoices are outdue, they built inside of this flow to go and get that data. And then they use another AI prompt to be able to take that data and then create an email that meets their standards of and format to communicate with customers, saying these are the invoices that are overdue, these are the next actions to be taken. And so they were able to create this all inside of a flow that has maybe 7 actions, and makes sense to them to create it in a flow when they know exactly the sequence of those steps, right? So every single month, at the end of the month, they want to send out these emails to customers and they want to get that data first. They want to do some type of data manipulation to find the right information and then package that up inside of an email. And that's a pretty normal sequence of events that they want to do. So they chose to do that inside of an agent flow. But once the customer responds to that email, what happens next? They leveraged an agent for that. And so they have it so that when a customer responds to that email, an agent understands what the customer is requesting, whether the customer is asking for more information around that invoice. Maybe it's requesting uh, a payment deferment, whatever that is. And they've created an agent that basically has a ton of tools to address those requests as they come in. If they need more information, it can use an agent flow to go grab more information about a specific invoice or a specific service. If they want to dispute a specific payment, they have a ton of tools that help them do that and use intelligent approvals to be able to approve whether those disputes are accepted or not. So they've kind of built this really great autonomous agent plus independent agent flows and agent flows as tools, which I've been able to see them come to life, and it's a really cool scenario.
That's amazing.
So it sounds like they're making some very intelligent digital workers, if you will. But I'm a little curious, since you've so eloquently corrected me, and it's not man in the middle, it's human in the loop right there. I'll have to remember that for myself. We are moving into this agentic world. Why is it so important to have a human in the loop? Maybe that's the question.
It's important because at the end of the day, humans are the ones that understand these processes the best. You know, we show off all these AI capabilities, agentic capabilities, agent flows to customers. And I kid you not, every time we kind of show off AI capabilities, a lot of customers ask, okay, but how do I make sure that this is right when the AI is using it? How do I make sure that I can provide my input? How can I make sure that I can give approvals? So fundamentally, humans understand the process. And we haven't gotten to a point where a lot of these LLMs understand the process end to end and the little nuances in the entire process. So when these processes are being executed by autonomous systems, humans are crucial because they can guide the AI systems in the way that the process should follow. They can give approvals. They can provide additional context information. They can do auditing so that over time the LLMs can learn how to carry out the process better. So it's a crucial part of AI and autonomous systems, and I think it's only going to become more crucial as we begin to hand off more tasks to AI models.
So to help folks better understand why or what this actually is, we're not talking about simply the human creating the prompt itself, right? Can you tell us more about
Yeah.
what it actually means?
Yeah. So, I'll give you an example. Let's say the AI agent is processing invoices, right? It looks at a particular invoice, maybe information is missing or something is smudged on that invoice. It can't really carry out the process. There are two options. One, the AI model can hallucinate and make stuff up, and then that goes downstream into the rest of the process, kind of like garbage in, garbage out if it hallucinates. The second option is for the AI model to acknowledge that it doesn't know or it can't carry out a particular part of that task because it doesn't have the information. Maybe something is missing on the invoice, or it can't see something on the invoice. Maybe the file that was uploaded was a protected file, so it can't even read it. Instead of hallucinating and making stuff up or failing, the agent can say, hey, I don't know, I can't do this. Can you help me? It reaches out to a human, and the human is able to provide that information, or the human is able to provide a document that isn't protected. And that just ensures that the process keeps going smoothly. Now, you may say that humans may be inundated with some of those requests. However, we've seen from customers that they really don't want their processes to fail because there's a lot of work restarting and automation that has already kicked off. So if they're able to have checkpoints at which failures occur and humans can be called in to resolve that before the entire process fails, that is a game changer for autonomous systems.
So what I'm hearing is, in the example that Heather gave, the human is now the quality control, if you will, for everything that the customer who she described has built. So they now have the capability to supplement their workforce, if you will, with digital employees, i.e. their agents. But they also have the confidence to know that, hey, if the agent cannot do something, that a human can now jump in and interject and correct, much like how we have a management system here, and our managers may be tutoring us, mentoring us, and so on. Is that a correct kind of analogy, I guess, Derah?
Yeah, that's one piece of human in the loop where a human can come in, correct. You can say coach, you can say mentor and agent. That's one piece.
Awesome. So I think it's time to wrap. Unfortunately, our producer is giving us the hand signals right now that we need to close up. But let's start with some closing remarks on here. Derah, like, if you had to leave everyone with one piece of information, what would that be? And then we'll go to Heather.
If I had to leave us with one piece of information, there's a lot to say.
What's great is that Heather can think about this as you're trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I think I'm very big on AI education, AI upskilling. It's something that I've taken on a passion for over the last year and a half. So consistently posting stuff on LinkedIn so that I can help other people learn about these new tools. So whenever I have the opportunity, at conferences, when I'm mentoring people, I advise them, like, this time we're in is, I haven't been in the workforce for too long, but from what I hear, it's a time that we've never experienced before. So I tell people to capture it, learn as much as you can, experiment as much as you can with these tools, use them, build things that actually work and people can actually use. So that's my piece of advice or piece of knowledge. I just encourage people to keep upskilling day by day in AI tools, in AI understanding, because that's the future that we are. That's the present, and that's the future.
Very cool. Heather, thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'll piggyback on Derah's thoughts. I would say use that knowledge, use that skill set, and come and bring it to agent flows. Come and start trying to play around with agent flows inside of Copilot Studio. See what you can automate, see what type of intelligent actions you can add to a flow and how that can really change the way that you work day to day. It's crazy how many ideas you can get about how you can apply these new technologies and these new AI capabilities when you actually start putting some fingers to keyboards. So start exploring and start trying to create.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, thank both of you for joining us. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty of announcements coming up in the future. We'll have to have you back on to talk about all the latest advancements and where more man in the middle or human in the loop, if you really know what you're talking about, is involved in here. So anyway, thank you both for joining the podcast. Super excited to get into agent flows.
Yeah, I just wanted to plug something that I'm working on. Heather mentioned a lot about new things coming to agent flows exclusively, like being able to up level these deterministic, we've described that word already, so I can use it, deterministic automations with AI actions. And one of the things we're building and we're going to be releasing soon is what we call AI approvals or intelligent approvals. Using LLMs, you can provide documents, images, and that LLM can provide you with an approval decision, like maybe approving invoices, for example, and it can give you the rationale for why it made that decision. But of course, with human in the loop or man in the middle, which I actually kind of like, you can, of course, have humans involved so that they can look through the decision that the AI model has made and veto it or correct it. So just stay tuned for that. We're working hard to get that out in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you.